An ermine hypnotizing a rabbit by dancing, a chicken falling asleep in front of a drawing, a crocodile becoming very docile, or a frog getting lost in front of a screen. Sit back and admire the work. Here are the 10 things that hypnotize our animal friends. The ermine is a small mammal that, like other members of its species, has a disconcerting agility. Its refined skills enable it to catch prey that is sometimes 10 times its size or difficult to reach. Even though it is often mistaken for a ferret and thought to be harmless, the ermine is a carnivore, which means that it has its share of ferocity. So when she's hungry, this is where the fun stops. In the sequence you see here, the little stoat was looking for a prey to put under its teeth, preferably a rabbit, since it is his favorite food. It was when he saw a group of rabbits that the stoat decided to pull out his fearsome weapon. No fighting, no violence, no bloodshed, and no chase, but a dance. Yes, a dance. Indeed, the stoat, a great frivolous of the big rabbits, started to perform a strange choreography mixing dance and gymnastics in order to immobilize one of them. Once the latter was hypnotized by her acrobatic gestures, she threw herself on him, biting him on the back of the neck, more precisely on the spine, in order to kill it. This masquerade lasted a little too long because the rabbit was obviously a tough guy, and the stoat certainly had to lose all her strength, but when you see the size of the rabbit, believe me, she has enough to recover, so she didn't dance for nothing. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in Morocco in the city of Marrakesh, in the Jamie El Fena Square, a place where merchants, acrobats, monkey trainers, jugglers, and snake charmers gather. You see a crowd gathering around a man and you want to go and see what's going on. What can gather so many people? You approach, and you discover a cobra dancing to the rhythm of a clarinet. The charmer sees you and offers you to try. Yes, I know, for that you have to know how to play the clarinet, but you are just imagining. You then start playing and the snake turns towards you. As you play the instrument, the snake, bewitched by the sounds of the clarinet and the vibrations it produces on the ground, starts to dance. He who by nature is very dangerous then becomes surprisingly docile. You almost want to put it around your neck and take a picture with it, but you abstain. The worry is that you must not stop, because if the music stops, the vibrations too. The snake will not be long in coming to its senses and attacking you. So you need to have a lot of breath if you don't want to be bitten. Good luck. But don't worry, you won't have to play the clarinet forever. Fortunately, you are only imagining the scene, because in real life it is impossible for you to be offered to charm a snake. This traditional and ancestral activity is only done by experienced charmers, and you are sitting comfortably at home and no snake is on the horizon, so let's get on with it. However, you are now aware that a snake can be hypnotized by the vibrations of a musical instrument in case you come across one day on your way and by the greatest of luck you have a clarinet at hand. You have a farm, or pretend to have one, and in the backyard are hundreds of birds of all species. Of course, you are used to taking care of them, and this morning you notice that one of the chickens has a sore leg. It will be difficult for you to treat it, so here is an unbeatable technique to hypnotize it so that it remains quiet while you give it the necessary care. Once you've spent 3 hours chasing it and you've finally caught it, you'll lay it on a wooden board, preferably with a black background. Hold your chicken with one hand supporting the breast. Lay it down so that its breast supports its weight and rests on the ground, and hold its legs in order to move on to the next step. Then wave a finger in front of its beak without touching it, while keeping the bird still with your other hand. Move back and forth, moving your finger back and forth for a few seconds. Keep doing this until the chicken becomes motionless. In this state, the bird should be hypnotized. If this first attempt does not work, you can always try to draw a line in front of his beak, on your board with a chalk, a stick, or your finger. Go from the beak to the outside for about 30 centimeters, making sure to keep the line straight. Once you release it, your chicken will stay perfectly still. And you will be so surprised that you will be like a headless chicken. Well, you will have lost a few minutes and a lot of energy, but it will be worth it because you will finally be able to start caring for it at your ease. But don't forget to wake her up anyway, be nice. To do this, you just have to clap your hands or give her a few little pats on the back. Hop, 3 little strokes and off you go. You are happy and your chicken too. You are on a safari survival course. You discover the wonders of nature and learn survival techniques. Today your instructor suggests you go and see the crocodiles in their natural element and learn how to hypnotize them in case one day you find yourself face to face with one of them. Of course, he is talking about the small crocodiles, because if you see a big one, don't think, run. So you will learn to hypnotize the small specimens of a few centimeters, but even with that, you are not very quiet. You take the little crocodile in your hands. It will try to struggle, but don't let it go. You hold his body with one hand to control him, then with the other, Make sure you keep his mouth closed, believe me, it's very important. Then lay him on his back and start stroking his belly. You will keep him still, but awake, by stroking all along his abdomen. Then you release both your hands and you will see that the reptile remains perfectly docile. Be careful to hypnotize it well because if it is not done properly, the crocodile can surprise you, turn around and attack you. You now know how to hypnotize a crocodile for all practical purposes. This is the technique used by a small Chinese woman to put animals to sleep. In these images, the little girl was participating in a Chinese television show, in which everyone comes to reveal their talent. The little girl also wanted to show the whole country the incredible gift she has, that of hypnotizing animals, whatever their species. To do this, the little girl had at her disposal several animals of all species, and in turn, she began to hypnotize them in front of the bewildered eyes of the viewers. With a simple caress of her finger on their belly and thanks to the melodious sound of her sweet voice, dogs, frogs, rabbits, chickens, big lizards, and many others, were completely paralyzed. Well, there was still the risk that one of the animals would rebel and not respond to her hypnosis. In that case, the little girl would have been in a real mess and the set would have turned into a real jungle. But apparently, she knows how to do it. The highlight of the show was that she could wake them up in one go with just a few words. In just a few minutes, the little girl managed to impress nearly 1 billion Chinese people. Wow! This pigeon was sitting quietly with his fellow pigeons, looking for some seeds to eat, when he saw a surprising object, a tablet that was put under his beak. Curious, he decided to approach it to observe the moving black and white images on the screen. He stood in front of the screen and watched the rotating image for a few seconds. In a few minutes, the pigeon found himself mesmerized by the image that had completely hypnotized him, while his friends were collecting all the seeds. He will eventually wake up, but his eyes will be squinting and he won't have anything to nibble on. That's what happens when you're a pigeon. Your pet is very nice, you love him as much as you love your own mother, you play with him, you pamper him, but today you have an important exam to prepare for, and he doesn't think so at all. He wants to play and you don't have time. What he can be sometimes annoying. The solution? Hypnotize him. Well yes, if you really want to get your mention in the math exam, take your cat, pretend to play with him, tease him and pet him on his belly. As he squirms, place your hand on his belly, bring your fingers together on the inside of your palm, then release them all at once. Repeat this several times for a long minute. You will see that Felix has gone to Wonderland, and you have a mountain of work to do. And in the worst case, if Felix is a tough guy, you can always try the operation on your teacher. Who knows, maybe he'll give you a mention without having to take the exam. Get out of here before he wakes up from his hypnosis and comes to bother you. Otherwise, you'll have to find a good excuse to give to your teacher tomorrow. Now you're in the clear. Off the coast of the Bahamas, an intrepid diver was with his team exploring the ocean floor during a routine dive. His goal was to study shark species in their natural environment. When he spotted a small shark swimming near him, the diver wanted to hypnotize it to make it more docile and force it to stay still for a few minutes. Indeed, this technique is often used to handle sharks in their natural environment, which considerably limits the risk of injury to both humans and sharks. To do this, the diver had to wait for the shark to approach him so that he could graze his extremities. The shark has several extremely sensitive sensory organs in its body, precisely in the area of its nose, which, when touched or caressed, can put the shark into a state of trance that scientists call thanatosis. This causes the animal to become completely immobile and stiff. This is how the diver was able to manipulate the animal to his liking. Although the experiment was successful, the diver risked his life because the shark could very well have come out of its trance and attacked him at any moment. Indeed, as soon as the animal is released, it immediately comes out of its hypnosis and no one can predict the defensive reaction it might have. But rest assured, the man was well protected by a wetsuit and iron gloves, in case the shark was a light sleeper. Sharks are not in the habit of remaining calm and immobile, even less so when humans venture into their territory, but this diver managed to prove that with a little bit of delicacy and a lot of cold blood, it was quite possible to hypnotize a shark like you would put a child to sleep. You have a frog as a pet, it is very nice, but sometimes it annoys you a bit by croaking too much. So you want to hypnotize him to give you some silence. Easy, you need a phone and an internet connection. It's a bit like with children. You'll put a video in front of him showing earthworms, spiders, ants, or even a video of world revealed talking about the most dangerous insects in the world. Believe me, it won't take a minute for your noisy little frog to become still, docile, and silent because it will simply be hypnotized by the images. Be careful not to find yourself completely mesmerized too. At worst, if you don't feel like breaking your head, plan some good frog legs for dinner, and you're done. You have the choice now. So what do you think of these techniques that hypnotize animals? Which one would you be tempted to try on your pet? Tell us in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss any of our upcoming content.